So I've been digging into the stack for this deep dive, and honestly, it presents a bit of a paradox. We're looking at two massive trends in modern life that almost seem to contradict each other. First, we're spending way less time, actually hanging out with people in person. And second, we're eating more food than ever.
It paints a very specific picture of the 21st century, doesn't it? The solitary figure, scrolling on a phone, maybe with a bag of chips.
Right. And the immediate place my brain goes, and I think where most people go, is simple cause and effect.
Yeah.
We think, oh, we're eating more because we're lonely, or, we're lonely, so we turn to food for comfort. But the articles you pulled suggest that's actually the lazy narrative.
It is. It's intuitive, but the data suggests it's just not the full story. The real mission here is to look at the structural reality. The sources argue these aren't A causing B.
Okay.
They're parallel outcomes. They're both caused by the same systemic shifts. The technological acceleration, the way we build our cities, and this sort of commercialization of our time.
So let's try and dismantle that a bit. The social decline aspect first. When the data says we're hanging out less, are we just becoming antisocial hermits?
Not exactly. The drop is specifically in unstructured face-to-face time. We're actually communicating constantly. Messaging, video calls, Slack.
Right. We're always connected.
But that digital substitution has made the friction of meeting up physically feel incredibly high.
It's the activation energy to just leave the house. But the sources mention something called work intensification as a big driver here. It's not just that we're working more hours, is it?
No, it's that the hours are denser. After 8 hours of intense screen-based cognitive labor, your brain is just depleted.
Yeah.
Coordinating a physical meetup starts to feel like more work.
Yeah.
Then you have to look at urban design. If you live in a car-centric city, you just don't have those incidental meetings.
You don't bump into people.
Exactly. You don't see neighbors at the corner store if you're driving everywhere.
So the cost of socializing has gone up, in a way.
Okay, so let's flip it to the food side. When we say eating more, what does that actually look like?
It's not just about a bigger portion sizes, though that's part of it. The real concept here is continuous availability. Food used to be tied to specific times, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Sure, natural stopping points.
Those are gone. Now, thanks to delivery apps, vending machines, 24/7 retail, food is always an option.
And it's not just the availability, it's the type of food. We're seeing this massive spike in caloric density and ultra-processed stuff.
Exactly. And to see what happens when you combine these dietary shifts with a more sedentary sort of post-COVID lifestyle, the sources point to Croatia as a really alarming case study.
Yeah, those numbers jumped out at me.
It's a stark example of a global trend hitting a specific population. The data shows 65% of adults in Croatia are overweight or obese. But the really concerning part is the next generation.
The kids.
1 in 3 children aged 7 to 9 is affected. It just shows how rapidly a population's health can turn when the environment changes around them. Which brings us to the core insight of this whole stack. The sources use a specific term for this split between how we eat and how we meet. Decoupling.
This is the aha moment. Historically, eating and socializing were, for all intents and purposes, the same thing.
Yeah.
Communal meals structured the day.
You ate when you gathered, and you gathered when you ate.
Yes. It was a biological and a social anchor.
And now, those two things have just been torn apart.
They've been optimized, but in totally opposite directions. Socializing has become modular and optional. You slot it in if you have the energy.
Okay.
Meanwhile, eating has become individualized and continuous. You can eat alone, anywhere, anytime.
And technology is sort of the wedge driving them apart.
Right. But it's important to see technology not as the villain here, but as the enabler. It just removes friction.
Right.
It allows us to outsource what used to be communal activities to the market. We don't need the village to eat. We have a delivery app. We don't need the pub to talk. We have a group chat.
It's efficiency at the cost of connection.
So, zooming out then, why does this matter? I mean, aside from the obvious loneliness, what are the real stakes here?
The consequences are pretty severe. We already talked about the health crisis, this global obesity epidemic. But there's also a social inequality angle that the sources highlight pretty heavily.
How so?
Lower income groups have less access to safe public social spaces and less access to healthy whole foods. They end up bearing the brunt of all this so-called efficiency.
It really sounds like fixing this isn't just about having more willpower to go on a diet or forcing yourself to go out on a Friday night.
Individual willpower is almost irrelevant against this kind of systemic design. If we want to change this, we have to redesign the environments themselves. We need urban planning that encourages interaction, walkable streets, third places. And we need work cultures that actually respect downtime so people have the energy to connect in the first place.
We need to prioritize these collective rhythms over just individual speed. That's the big takeaway. And it leaves us with a tough question for you listening. If the world is now designed to prioritize your individual optimization, making everything faster, easier, and more solitary, what kind of friction are you willing to put back into your life to protect your social connections?
Something to chew on. Thanks for diving in with us.